So it was very, very difficult. Number one, we didn't go out of the house. My brother worked not far away. He went with a bicycle to work, but with also the Gentiles threw stones at him because you had to wear the star.
So they put a star on you as well. You had Judah star on your
So
clothing.
you couldn't hide who you are. And we came home, and my parsha, which I learned partly in Frankfurt,
Your bar mitzvah parsha, your Torah bar mitzvah parsha, yeah?
the Bereshis I learned in Frankfurt by a teacher.
So you're 12 years old at this point. Okay.
So when I came back to our hometown, to my parents, came my bar mitzvah, I started till today, even before my brother passed away, we wanted to figure out the 10th man.
You wanted a 10th person for the bar mitzvah. There wasn't a 10th Jew for your minion, to make a minion for your bar mitzvah.
And where was it? In German, they called it the Gute Zimmer. You know, where special company came,
Yeah.
and yonder for Shabbos you had in there. So we started the service, and all of a sudden a telegram came, and it said down there from a woman, a Jewish woman, that the first transport left for out of Germany. Now we had no idea where they went, what went on.
So once again, this is you're 12 years old. You haven't had your bar mitzvah yet. You're about to get your bar mitzvah, and then you hear at the bar mitzvah itself, and then they say the transport is here, and the Germans have come to.
No, not us. They only went in certain neighborhoods. In 1942, in the beginning, in May or whatever it was, there was rumors already that they're going to take us away. So all the Jews, in the meantime, there weren't that many left from different towns. They all moved into our house. The kids, our children, grandchildren, saw the house. And we all scrambled together. Came 1942, and they said, the mayor came to my father and said, you know, you are going to leave in September. I gotta take you, the whole family, everybody. So came September, they came, and
Who's they?
a policeman,
German policeman?
German policeman, came and said, okay, take whatever you can and come with me. And in our house, when you go up, there were a couple of steps. One went towards the barn and the other one went towards the street. So we all walk out. Now, can you imagine my father, where his father built the barn in 1891? I don't know how long he lived in the house. You leave everything behind.
You left your house behind, everything behind.
Whatever was in the house, you just walked with a suitcase, I don't remember anymore, and a suit, and you walked out. And we went into an open space, which our children, grandchildren saw.
Because you went back to visit.
So we came, nobody knew where we were going. So they brought us into a train station in the regular trains. But later on, in the middle of the road, they chased us out and they put us into a cattle car. Where did we wind up? In Theresienstadt, Czechoslovakia.
That's in Prague, the Czech Republic, right in Prague, yeah.
So we got there, but my parents, they separated us. my parents, Prague was a city, but they chased all the Gentiles out. And my parents separate, we didn't know. Later on, we found out where they were. My brother went into another place, and I went, since I was a child, they called it Jugendheim,
What is that?
young boys and
Young
girls.
boys' play school, yeah.
And we were there. Naturally, we went to work.
I think it's a museum now, no? I think it's a museum over there. Yeah, I was there. We took trips there, yeah.
So we worked there, and little by little, again, they pulled some Jews out, and we had no idea where they were going. And in Theresienstadt was fairly good. When we worked, you made friends, you huntled. One once worked in the garden. We used to take cucumbers, and we dealt it with somebody else. So we switched over. Wasn't that bad. My mother over Sholem wouldn't eat anything.
She wouldn't eat in Theresienstadt.
But afterwards there was
Why? Because it
wasn't kosher.
wasn't kosher. She would only eat kosher food.
But then the Rabbi Nuas, his son, later found that when we came here, had a shul in the Washington Heights, Ohad Sholem. And after we worked, that all of a sudden, my father knew somebody who was in charge. Since my father was a soldier in the First World War in 1981.
For the Germans?
For the Germans.
Wow.
Made no difference. We worked there.
So the fact he was a German soldier meant nothing. They didn't care about that.
We worked there in 1942. We came, again, they put us in a cattle car, my parents and my brother. We came to Auschwitz. We didn't know where we were going. Night, the big lights, the dogs, and they used to scream, Juden raus, blah, blah, blah.
What year was this?
1942.
42. So if you're in Theresienstadt, and then they took you on a cattle car to
Auschwitz, Birkenau.
Birkenau.
44, wasn't it? Didn't you go to Auschwitz in 44?
Yeah, 44, right, I'm sorry. Thank you, 1944.
44.
And as we walk out, we saw, what did we know? Later on we found out Mengele. And he was standing there with a cigarette in his mouth, and he went this way, and he went this way. As we walked, he took my parents to this side, and Martin and I to the other side. And I must say, the moment they opened up the doors, my father said, here we are, where the others came already a long time ago.
So he knew what was kind of...
Yeah, he knew.
He knew.
The moment we got off, we were separated. But before we were separated, my father said to my brother, you will make it. And after the war, go back to our hometown. Before I turned around, my parents were gone. I looked to the right, my brother was gone. Here I'm all alone. I'm 6.5 years old. No, they put me in the barrack.
Did you see your father again? You saw your parents ever again?
So they put us what they called the Zigeunerlager, gypsy camp.
Gypsy camp, you're a gypsy, right?
And we got there, it got light. When it got dark, supposedly he was a couple, a Jew.
Jewish capo, yeah.
A Jewish couple. And he tried to hit me.
To hit you.
I didn't know why. My parents were next in the other camp. and we heard screaming and this, so we knew what was on. You saw children, men walked against the barbed wires, and they fell down like the leaves fall over
They were
trees.
trying to escape, or they were
No,
killing
no,
themselves.
they wanted to go over and save the people.
Ah,
And there were heavy electric wires.
electric wires they put there. Yeah.
I knew it was my parents.
Okay.
Was terrible. After 2 days, I came out from Bergenau. I knew my parents were gone. I didn't know where my brother was. I started to work. We went to Sosnowitz. There was a cannon factory, and we worked there.
How'd you work in Sosnowitz in the cannon factory?
Yeah. And if you weren't fast enough, there was a Polish, not a Jew, a guy with a half arm. In the canonen factory, there was the fire, and you had to push the metal in, and it went on, and there was fire, and it bended it and made it round.
Yeah.
And if you were too slow, they used to push you in. Now, can you
Push
imagine?
you into what?
Into the fire,
What? They would kill a person. They would.
live. Now, can you imagine you stay in front of the oven, hot, in back of you, you walked out, freezing, cold. What did you had? You saw the movie or the pictures with
stripe.
just those thin stripes on, no undershirt. No. If you were underpants, we were talking so many times. I don't know. I don't remember. We were there were 2 shifts, a 12-hour shift from the camp. One shift went to work, and then the next shift went off. We slept in barracks. Now in the barracks, if you slept on top, was winter time, the snow or the rain came in. You slept on the bottom. People had diarrheas or what. They used to pee, used to drop down. Either way, and you had those straw bags. If you moved, you weren't covered. If you moved this way and this way, you only just this way. Another one, if you were asleep, grabbed it. You know, dog eats dog. After a while, you get.
He toughened you.
So, one morning we came into the place and we see the night shift standing there. We lined up. And all of a sudden they said in German, "Rumdrehen," you turn around, march and start walking. There were 4,000 people, inmates in that camp. And we started to walk with 4,000 people. Where we were going, we didn't know either. All what we saw, the bombs falling.
You saw bombs falling at that point.
You know, we were hoping. We kept on walking. You saw the tanks laying on the side. And as you were walking, you saw people lying there. You saw somebody with a decent pair of shoes. You literally took them off.
Took the business shoe, sure.
And next to it, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, an SS-man came to me. I was about the only German Jew on there with Jangela, who beat me up, but he beat me up in Auschwitz, so I shouldn't see that they go away, that they go into the gas chamber. And that Jangela always was with me. And I started to talk to that Captain Wolf, which was my muscle. Whenever he came back, he used to give me a sandwich was it kosher, not kosher. You didn't care. Through him, he saved me.
So this is
Okay.
Captain Levy.
Captain Wolf.
Sorry, Captain Wolf.
Captain Wolf.
This is an SS guy.
An SS man.
So why do you think he wanted to help you?
I didn't ask questions.
Right.
Came at night, we rested, and he came to me and he said, "Nicht schlafen, don't fall asleep." Why? Once you fall asleep, you froze to death. And we started to walk, and it got less and less. So Captain Wolf always gave me food. We came into Mauthausen, which we didn't know at the time, was about the world's worst camp. We got there. Out of the 4,000, we were 500 men.
So 4,000 left Sosnowitz,
Yeah,
and you just death march to Mauthausen,
yeah.
and
400.
3,500 died along the way.
I mean, we have proof, which the kids read. And came nighttime, they pulled me out, an SS, and they put me into a room which the kids saw. There was like a bench. They put your hands in and they closed it. The same thing, the feet.
I don't understand. What did they do?
Over a bench. They strapped me in.
They shackled you.
And they wanted to find out, because I wasn't that undernourished, why did I survive? Would I have said why that SS
That
man...
Wolf did it for you. They would have got him.
So I didn't say anything. They kept on hitting. With a
They're beating you with a whip to get the
with
information
a
out of you.
whip. The kids saw the whip. And in the meantime, I saw the bombs going. When the bombs went down, they whistled.
Yeah, the whistling bomb, right. When it
You
stops
know,
whistling, you know it's going to...
So all of a sudden, the SS disappears. I'm staying there stripped in. I can't get out.
Oh my goodness.
That Captain Wolf saw me going in there. He came, unstrapped me.
Wow.
In the meantime, I had no conscience.
You had no strength.
I was lying on the side. That Captain Wolf was standing next to me. All of a sudden, I saw the big doors open up and tanks. What do I know who they are? As it turned out, were the Americans.
The American tanks came into Mauthausen to liberate.
I was laying on the side.
Because you had no strength. You'd just been beaten up by the SS.
I couldn't move. They beat me up. All of a sudden, a man comes. Do I know who he is? I don't know, American or what, who knew?
Okay, a guy walks in, a soldier walks in.
And how we communicate, I don't know.
Because you only spoke German and...
I don't know. Was it Yiddish or what? I don't know. And that Captain Wolf standing next to me, and he wanted to arrest him. So I said to that Captain Lee,
to the American captain.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know the name at that time.
Yeah.
I said, leave him alone. He saved my life. I told him.
Wow.
Boom, 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 I said. So he said to the guy, go and take some clothes and get rid of the Nazi
Uniform. Of the American soldier told him to go and change his...
Right. And he came, and people, the Red Cross came. they disinfected the camp because people lie down, they had typhus, diarrhea, it smelled, you couldn't get into the barracks. The Red Cross, and they took the Nazis to clean it up.
Oh, the Nazis, they made the Nazis clean it up.
The American soldiers
Good.
let the Nazi clean up. In the meantime, he used to come with a little one slice of
Who's
bread.
he? This is Captain Levy.
Came one slice of bread, little, I don't know what it was, milk or what. He put me into the lazaret that was like a infirmary, a hospital,
Infirmary to
whatever
help you
it
get
was.
better. The hospital there, yeah.
And they got me back alive. A couple of days later, all of a sudden I knew his name. Captain Levy came and he said, we got to pull out tonight and the Russians are going to take over and it's no good for the Jews.
So they had to get the Jews out before the Russians came.
Yeah, you know, they changed the
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
And he gave you the papers with my name and the sign, Captain Levy, which the kids have. And he put me on the train and he told the conductor, make sure.
He first asked you if you have a place to go.
What? Oh, he asked me, you have a place where to go? So all of a sudden my light went on and I said, yeah. My father said,
Go
after
back
the
to your
war-
hometown after the war. You remember him saying
and
that?
I told him, I gave him the name and all. We came to the railroad station in Linz, which is in Austria, and he told the conductor, make sure that that man goes wherever he this and this, that he gets there. And he went on the side, never forget. And he took out his gun and he said to the guy, if you don't get there, I'm going to kill you.
Captain
What
Levy
the-
said this to the train. Wow.
So I came to the train station in Marburg. In those days, our town had no train station. So I knew that there's the Ostend and West End, that the train goes from the West End to our neighboring town. And I go there, in the meantime, was 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And I said to the guy, when is the next train going to Wittelsburg? So he says, well, they came in, the next one will go at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night after work. You know, like from here, you go into New York to work. And all of a sudden, he says, looked at me and he says, a couple of days ago, a Judenjung, you know, that means a
No.
Jewish boy,
A young Jewish boy, yeah?
came also from camp. He came and he didn't look well. No, I knew it was my brother.
You knew it was your brother he was talking about. How did you know?
There were no other young fellas around, you know. There were no, they went to England, America, whatever. I was the only, so I figured it's my brother.
Wow.
So-
And you never knew he was alive, right? He wasn't with you.
Never knew who was alive. I didn't know where my sisters or my brother. I knew, unfortunately, my parents. I knew the date and all. I started to walk. It's about 8 kilometers. And I came into the first town. I saw a bicycle standing. In the meantime, it was still 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I took the bicycle and I drove into our town. I went into our house.
The house that belonged to your family before the war. Who was there?
and people are living there.
Which people?
Goyams,
Germans
Germans.
had moved into your house, just taken your parents' house.
Yeah. So I told him who I was, and so he says, "Your brother is in that house he lives with. The woman used to work for my parents or whatever." So I went back and into the house, and the moment the gentlewoman saw me, she started to scream. Now, as we walk in, she says, "Martin is in that room."
Wow, your brother was alive in the other room.
He was sleeping, and I opened up his eyes.
So he never knew you were alive either, right? Walter.
Naturally, now he was already, he had somebody stronger. We told him, "Get out." "Oh, we can." So we said, "We give you a certain time, get out." And in one side of the house was still our furniture for my parents. And then my brother said, "There's a Friedel from our hometown who is in the American Army, who is stationed in Bad Nauheim." And Friedel came a couple of days later. He brought us food and blah, blah, blah. We found out where my sister is and where my brothers are. He told us my sister is in America. My brothers are still in England and the British Army. So, but before, I must say, before I left, Captain Levy asked me, "Do you have any siblings?" So I told him. So what did I know? There's a German newspaper. It's still existing, the Aufbau.
The Aufbaut?
Aufbau, a German-American
Aufbau.
paper.
Okay.
Printed in German. And he put an ad in the Aufbau.
Saying that if you can find the Spier
Walter
siblings.
Spier is looking for siblings. And my sister worked in a factory, and when she came in, somebody said to her, "Do you have a brother?" "Oh,
Oh my goodness. And where was she?
in America."
She was in America. Wow.
And she says, "Walter Spier is looking for you."
Wow.
So we knew we're not going to stay in Germany because there were no Yiddishkeit, and even so, we weren't Shomer Shabbos.
Yeah.
No, very few people right away turned around.
Yeah.
So Friedel, his sister had a farm upstate in Pine Plains. And Friedel, either what he called over, to send us right away an affidavit, to come to the States.
Come to America, yeah.
So we came to the States. No, I must say, before we came to the States, we were liberated in September. No, May. We were liberated in May. Came towards the fall on Rosh Hashanah. There was in Bad Nauheim, which was a beautiful city, classy, rich people. There was a beautiful synagogue before the war. And Friedel, who was the soldier, made arrangements that we go there for Rosh Hashanah to Bad Nauheim to the synagogue. So they picked us up, we went there, we davened, blah, blah, blah. Came Yom Kippur, they picked us up again. We went there. Now, I was no tzaddik. An American soldier started the daven, mincha, and when he wanted to start, I looked around, and I don't see my brother. And a couple of other survivors. So I went over to the American, to the cousin. I said, don't start Kol Nidre.
Don't start calling Nidre yet. You didn't see a brother. He wasn't in the synagogue in Badenheim.
He wasn't there. So I went outside and I see my brother and a few other survivors sitting on the steps
Outside the synagogue.
and eating. As little as I was, I must say, as I remember my mother, Shabbos afternoon, she used to sit on the window. We call it the Chinnebuch, you know.
She would say Tehillim, a prayer book. She would pray and say Psalms.
And I said, Martin, what are you doing? You do exactly what Hitler wants you to do to get away. Your mother did this. I told you where our parents went. So 3 or 4 boys with my brother went into the shul, went to the house, and said, now you can start.
Now you can start. You pulled your brother back in. So what happened to your brother? So you basically said you went back a little bit, but you went to America. You got there for David, went to America with your siblings. All the siblings came to America?
No, just my brother and me.
Ah.
Like I said, one sister was here,
Already there, yeah.
and the 2 brothers were in England.
Aha.
So we came here, we landed at the pier. My sister picked us up at the pier. We picked us up at 60 of I don't know what pier. We went to her apartment. We saw, we looked. Martin looks at me. We had a big house, but don't forget, it was a farmhouse, not, going back like 100 years, maybe more. And my sister had supper, more, came schluffen, came in bed. One of us slept on the couch, and the other one slept on the floor.
Wow. And this is your younger sister? Your sister was younger than you?
Older.
She
I was
older.
the
You're the
youngest.
youngest of all
You're
of them.
the youngest. And my brother looks at me and I look at him. For that we came to America.
That little apartment, sit on a couch.
The Germans offered us stay. We take your father's business over. We give you an open account, start working. So I have a temper, still have the temper, and I said to them, where were you when we left and came to camp?
Yeah.
You can take Germany and shove it in German. So they looked at us and we walked down the steps. They ran after us. So we said, why did we come here? So that Stickel Mischproche, Friedel, worked for Swingline, stable machine.
Okay. Sewing machine.
Yes, stable,
Stable, springline, yeah.
So he took Martin, we went like this, who goes first? So Martin won, he started to work in the stable. So in the meantime, we went out and we rented a room. Martin went in with the uncle. He only could take one. He slept with Friedel in one room, and I rented the room. And at that time, the people used to rent rooms. Undermieter, they used to call it.
And this is where? This is Manhattan?
Yeah. So, and I look on the Aufbau and there's somebody's looking for work in a machine shop. So I went there for an interview. I started to work for 75 cents an hour.
And how did How did you meet your Rebbetzin, your wife? How did you meet your wife? Where did she turn up?
You're jumping. So I started to work, and after a while we had another uncle who was in the Draper meat line. Martin was making $1 an hour. I was making 75 cents an hour. I became a butcher.
You became a butcher.
Trade. And Julius knew my family from Germany, blah, blah, blah. And I said to him point blank, I said, Julius, I'm not going to stay here. I said, I want to switch my life the way I was brought up.
Right.
So I worked there.
This was a non-kosher butcher, and you wanted to go back to your roots.
Yeah, so, but you had to work every second Shabbos a half a day, and they told me. When I went to, there was like a stable, shalom. When I went there on a Shabbos, they knew I live in a room, right?
Yeah.
You think ever anybody would have said, come and have lunch with us? You don't forget that. Even today, God bless my wife, we always have single people.
Come to your house for Shabbos.
The other day, I felt sorry for a man who isn't 100%. We invited him for lunch. He was so grateful. Never anybody invited him. His parents live in Texas, divorced, all kinds of money. So I've looked around, and then finally I met somebody also from our town, from Germany, and he says, my brother, my uncle or something, opened up a butcher shop in Youngest, and he's looking for somebody. So I started to work. Again, I told him, Henry, I'm not going to work for you forever. I want to go on my own. It's not for me. I worked there for a while. Sure enough, I looked in Teaneck, I looked there and there. All of a sudden, they came out, Driver Butcher, not far on Tucker Road, who converted to kosher.
It's kosher. Not kosher butcher, become a kosher butcher.
Right. So we went there. We sort of made a deal, and Henry, we became a shidduch.
In partnership.
So, but I need a hashkoch. In the meantime, I knew already. I met my wife. We were married already. I met her
How did you meet your wife?
at a
You
soccer
jumped.
game.
You what? At a what?
Soccer game.
Soccer game.
Football.
Football.
So-
You were born here in America, though, right? You were born.
I was 6 years old when I came.
So before the war you
Came
came.
with my parents
Before the war.
Before the war.
From Germany?
from Germany. Not far from his hometown.
Wow.
So there was, we knew, and the partner what I had, all right, forget about that. So I wanted a good hashgacha. So I knew there was Rabbi Alexander Rosenberg. I don't know if you heard of him. He started the OU.
Oh, Rosenberg started the OU, okay.
Yeah, he had a congregation in Yonkers or Tzedek. So I made an appointment, I went to him, and I told him exactly what I wasn't Shomer Shabbos, I worked and blah, blah, blah. And I turned around. So he says, you get my hashgacha, and you are going to be the only one in Yonkers, in Westchester, who won't have a mashgiach in the place. And the day we opened up, God was good to us.
God bless you and you.
With my wife, we got married. We had two wonderful sons. They married.
These guys?
We married two wonderful girls.
When you started,
What wonderful sons. These ones. Yes.
Huh?
when you started looking for Captain Levy.
Oh, then once I got my circle together,
Get your head together.
and I wanted to look for Captain Levy.
This is the American
Who-
captain who
who
came
helped
and
me.
liberated
Right.
you and took care of you.
So we looked at the Jewish veterans. We went there and there, couldn't find it. One Kristallnacht, I spoke in Arnie's show, and there was a man. What was he?
Pulitzer Prize winner, an investigator of the AP investigator.
And he says to
Pulitzer
Arnie,
Prize winner, investigator, and he
he
said,
said to Arnie, I'm not going to go to sleep till I find that
so
Captain
this guy was going to
Levy."
find the Captain Levy. What was his
And
name?
he-
Do you know the guy's name?
Randy Hershaft.
Randy Hershaft, okay.
Go ahead, you tell them.
Well, it took a couple of years.
That's going. Go ahead, tell them.
You go
Okay,
ahead.
it's okay. So they went hunting for him.
Yeah, and finally, his son is a rabbi, and he teaches in
Joel's son.
yeah,
Teaches
who's
at Frisch.
in Frisch, and the whole gang, all the rabbonim, looked for that Captain Levy, but they found out that he passed away.
He had died.
He died, and he married a non-Jewish girl.
Wow.
And his son with other Hafruzes, they found that his wife also died, but they found the Mitzvah where she's buried.
Obituary.
Of who? Of his wife. They found the tombstone of his wife. Uh-huh.
So for the obituary, we found his children.
Wow. I see the obituary. They found. Oh, wow. Good journalism. So they found his family, found his wife and kids.
Yeah. So they got in touch with him. In the meantime, Jay-Z, Yom HaShoah 2012,
Yeah.
he wanted
That's this event over here. Right.
they wanted a program, and they said, do you want to speak on Kristallnacht? In the meantime, Jay-Z got in touch with the daughter and the granddaughter,
Yeah.
and they invited her for Yom HaShoah to come here.
Right, for Holocaust commemoration, they invited the Frisch
Yeah.
school to meet. So you met the family. What was that like? What was that like?
I'm sorry?
What was it like when you met the family?
Well, before they came here, I think it was you, Arnie, who had a 12-way conversation.
We had a conference the night we found them.
You had a
We
conference
were
call
in a
with them.
conference call of all the families.
Wow, that's incredible. Let me ask you, that's an incredible story. Thank you very much for sharing it. Can I ask you one more question? If you want to answer, you can. If not, what is it to those people who say the Holocaust didn't happen? How would you respond?
I'm sorry?
How would you respond to the people who say the Holocaust never happened?
There's Goyams, there's even our own people. They're, how shall I say? They daven, but they don't know the meaning.
They pray, but they don't know what they're saying.
You understand? They say, you call them a Jew, you know. So we once, when I was president of the shul for 10 years, we merged with another shul. And I was the president, and one guy got up, how can you merge with that shul? They're not even Shomer Shabbos. So I said, go to any concentration camp, and you see a pile of shoes. People who were cremated in the camps. Hitler made no difference if you're Shomer Shabbos or not. If you're halbe Jude, you know, half Jew, or this or Yenis,
He still
you
got
were
you.
treated the same way.
Wow.
That's how they looked. The Goyim's narrow-minded people.
It's ignorance.
Call it ignorant, narrow-minded people.
May I see the number on your arm? What number was that?
A 1838.
A 1838. Wow. You're the second survivor I've interviewed who had the number 18 in their number.
Well, they went first. First was no number, then they ran out. Then they started with A. Then later on they ran out of A, then came B.
Right. Wow. Wow. Walter, thank you very, very much.
A couple of years ago, there was an article in the New York Times on a Saturday of someone whose number was A1828. 10 numbers apart.
10 numbers apart that were there right before you.
Same transport.
Same transport. And you met him?
Sure.
He didn't know him then. My father said, find him. Within 5 minutes, I found a contact on social media,
Wow.
and we had the two of them meet,
Wow.
and the two of them spoke at our shul for a Kristallnacht, a program called 10 Numbers Apart.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Walter. God bless you. Thank you very much, Mr. Spier. Thanks for the late.
It's all that we turned out the way we are is this one here.
How old are you, by the way, Walter? You don't
For me,
Yeah, I'd met
59.